limits. Liberal, irreverent, oh, and really, really gay.
Welcome to the Off Limits Show, everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight for Brain Purge. We are doing Brain Purge tonight, which is a show, if you haven't heard it before, where I sit here and I talk about whatever comes to my mind. Stream of consciousness, stream of thought, just kind of let it flow out of my mouth, from my brain to my mouth. Brain Purge, therefore, is the name. And I have no filter, so whatever I'm thinking, I just say it. And so sometimes it's just ramblings and makes no sense, and sometimes incoherent, and sometimes it's just me just talking incessantly, and sometimes I'm half quiet. So you never know what you're going to get on Brain Purge. You never know what the topic's going to be. So thanks for joining me. And if you want to know more about me before the show starts, I want to tell you, you can go to offlimitsshow.com. You can go to Spreaker.com, Stitcher.com, blogtalkradio.com, and also, of course, hear me on iTunes. If you want to subscribe to my iTunes, a podcast, you can subscribe to it on the App Store, or iTunes Store, rather. So feel free to do that as well. So right now I'm feeling very dizzy. I just ate, and as you know, if you hear me talk a lot, I wait for hours and hours on end before I actually eat anything. So it's not common that I do that. I eat, and then I eat 8 hours later, and then I eat maybe again 8 hours later if I'm still awake. So I don't eat as often as I should. So I think my blood sugar is going up and down right now. It's fluctuating too much. And that's why I'm dizzy right now, because my blood sugar is spiking or something. And I'm not diabetic, but I feel like I am right now. So anyway, what can I talk about tonight? Let's see. What's on my mind? I have been actually growing a beard, not really intentionally. I just, this past week and a half or so, I haven't had to do much. My clients, I've already finished all my clients and everything I've had to do this year so far. Unless I get another client soon or anything, I won't be doing anything for the rest of the year probably. Usually this time of year is really slow for me. Usually October, November, December are very slow because it's the holidays and people aren't really wanting to start designing a new house or whatever. Although I still have some projects I'm working on. I mean, I'm at the point right now where they're just sort of in the planning stages or whatever, and I have a lot to do other than the planning. So occasional meetings or whatever. So there's not a lot to really, do about that. So, so that means I have a lot more free time. So I'm just sort of hanging out here on Spreaker tonight, purging my brain. But I'm feeling very dizzy right now, which is not good. Right when I started the show, it happened. So, I don't know, it is what it is. So, anyway, as I was trying to say, I started growing a beard because I just didn't want to shave the past week and a half. I didn't have to do anything or go anywhere, so I've just not shaved. And it started to come in, and it's come in pretty much already. I mean, I grow a beard very quickly, very easily, so it's not difficult for me. But I know some people have a really hard time growing beards, but I don't. It's very easy. And it's funny because beards are all different types and shapes and sizes, and I'm usually a clean-shaven person. I'm always clean-shaven when I go in public, so I'm very doubtful that I will ever go out in public looking this way. But because it just doesn't really match my personality that much. It kind of does, and it kind of doesn't. But we'll see what happens. But it gets kind of itchy after a while after the first stage, and so I'm kind of past that now, and so it's not as itchy anymore, and so I'm beginning to tolerate it. But I noticed that I have a lot of gray hairs coming in, and a lot of gray hairs, so it's kind of disconcerting that I'm the age I am, which is 38, and actually I'm having gray hairs like I do right now. Hold on, I gotta type something on Twitter real quick. Okay. So anyway, but yeah, so I'm doing that and trying to see where that leads me. And maybe it'll lead me somewhere interesting. Maybe it won't. Maybe I'll keep it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's, like I said, very unlikely that I'll keep my beard as it's growing, especially like a real beard. And I'm planning to keep it like trimmed, really neat and everything else, at least, if I keep it, which is unlikely. I keep saying that because it's really unlikely. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen. But, I think it's good when people try to make a change and, try to do something different, something that's not in their typical wheelhouse, kind of color outside the lines of their life. I think it's important to keep life interesting that way and to challenge oneself to actually try new things, even something as small as growing a beard or something as small as taking a trip somewhere you've never been on your own, or just doing something different that leads you to a new way of thinking or a new path in your life. And I think that's it's a great thing. And so if you can achieve that, then wonderful, through something. If you achieve what I'm trying to say, if you actually achieve some kind of epiphany or some kind of realization on your own that you need to make a change in your life, then great. And so it's somewhat, it could be something as small as just changing something about your physical features can lead you to an epiphany. Believe it or not, people actually can really sort of have those kinds of experiences from seemingly small changes in their lives. I mean, and if you think about it, it's the smaller things, the smaller changes that usually have the most drastic results. I mean, if you want to make a change in your life, for example, and you want to move somewhere, you can move somewhere that's way across the country, and maybe like New York from Dallas, or you can move from Dallas to Houston. And even that small change can make a big difference. Like I said, this is stream of consciousness, so that makes no fucking sense about what I'm saying. I'm just saying whatever I think in my head. So I'm just blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so there was this article I read about, it says, why do gay men historically adopt female stars as their icons? Gay men have almost all gay men have some sort of diva or some sort of icon, musical or Hollywood icon or something that they look up to or idolize. And there's always been a question about, why gay men do that, or why gay men are gravitate towards certain kinds of female, stars. And, so I thought about it ever since I first, when I was gay or whatever. But you kind of, think about people like Betty Davis or Judy Garland or Madonna, Marilyn Monroe, Joan Crawford. I mean, Samantha from Bewitched even, or Endora from Bewitched, or, there's all sorts of icons, women who could be icons for a gay man. And believe it or not, the gay men sometimes emulate them to some degree in their behavior or how they approach situations. Sometimes it gives them strength to, the strength that they show. Typically, these people are strong women in some fashion or another. And I think they gravitate towards them because they sometimes represent the strength that we at the time don't have, especially as teenagers or young boys or whatever. And they're usually really beautiful or quirky or somehow different, or have a vulnerability about them or something that's different. And so I think, we look up to them and want to, and we identify with them as well. So I don't really know why it is that way, but the article said that it's that we're embracing the fact that we're different, and that they're different, and that, as we assimilated into the mainstream population, it's often seen as to be individual or have quirkiness or differences about you is not a good thing. And so being gay, being considered a quirk or individualism or something is something that gay men identify with in these women. They look at these women and they think, wow, this woman's different than I am, or this woman's different. She's an outsider. She's quirky or whatever. And look how she succeeded or how she's really endured, and so I think that is probably why, we look up to them for that reason, because most men, a lot of men don't identify with heterosexual men, because heterosexual men usually, or sometimes they can just sort of be the source of our pain with our fathers or uncles or relative or whatever that never loved us or never showed us affection or never showed us, the kind of affirmation that we needed from them. Never got that from them. And so usually women are seen as something that's non-threatening to us and something that is someone we can confide in, just like a friend. So I think that's one reason why we look up to them and why we idolize women as strong female leads. I think that's makes plenty of sense to me. In my opinion, anyway. And then, what was the other thing? There was a thing about, what was I going to talk about? Oh yeah. The show Orange is the New Black. I told you guys about this in a previous show. There's, hold on, where is this? It says, okay, so it says Orange, it says Laura, let me turn to okay. Sorry, I was reading something. Orange is the New Black is a show that's on Netflix. You can only get it on Netflix, and it's a series. It's a really good series. It's a very, very good series, and I think it's really a really good. It's a really good show. I watched it. It was a new series on Netflix and it was announced, and I thought it looked good, and so I checked it out. Saw the first episode, watched all 18 episodes or whatever it was, or 20 episodes, whatever it was, in one day or 2 days or something like that. So it's a very good show, and if you haven't checked it out, you can check it out on Netflix. You have to have Netflix to watch it. It's not on a cable channel, unless you want to consider Netflix to be one. Anyway, so what it's about is about this woman. It's based on a true story, by the way. This woman who actually had kind of a interesting life already, and living in Connecticut. Excuse me. And she gets arrested for something she'd done almost 10 years previous, 9 years before. And when she was with a lesbian, or she was lesbian, and she was with this woman who was a drug dealer, and this drug dealer ended up getting her to carry some drugs for her. And as a result of that, she ended up, she didn't get caught or anything. She did just fine. She was in her teen years or whatever in college. And so fast forward 9 years later, and she's no longer a lesbian. She's with a man. And Jason Biggs, actually Bigelow or Big, whatever his name is from American Pie, is her husband, and they're together and fiance, not married yet. They're going to get married, and then she gets arrested because this woman ratted her out, and the statute of limitations was 10 years and only been 9 years and 6 months. So she ends up going to prison for 2-year sentence or 1-year sentence or something like that. And so it's about someone who's really a fish out of water, being in this prison system and learning the ropes and seeing how things work and really just kind of going through hell. And it's really a really good show. It doesn't sound like it, but it really is. So it's got a lot of humor to it as well, of course. And it's really good. So you check it out if you haven't seen it before. It's worth it. I'm going to take a break. Come right back.